Alrighty. Good morning, afternoon, day, evening, and night to all my wonderful Algebra 2 kiddos. This is Mr. Lowery. Hopefully you're able to hear me clearly. As you can tell from the background, I am at work right now. It's my playing period, and with today being Monday, March the 7th of 2022, and with us having a 2-hour late start, I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of what it will be expected for this week, what we're looking at, where we're going, and be able to kind of just be on the same footing, even with all the snow that we had to address with this morning, slip conditions, or what have you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen at this particular time so you're able to see what we are working with, focusing on across the board. So yes, it is Monday. So just as kind of a quick highlight to everyone, just so you are aware, these are the these are the answers from the practice that was given to you on Friday. And there was a concern brought up about how can we repurpose the practice to make sure that it's more practical. And so hopefully within the next week, or definitely when we get back to spring break, you hopefully will see a change in how we use some of the practices, how the practice is delivered, and some of the things we refer to it as. So please be on the lookout for that as we go along in future times. But for today, the focus was on lesson 5.7. Now, unfortunately for those who are not here in class on today, you did not get the new workbooks to be able to do any of the items that's in that particular lesson. But don't fear, the main part of this lesson was to truly bring everything together that you talked about so far to wrap up 6A. And so with that being the case, the target that we wanted to land on is being able to express transform functions algebraically. So basically using the equations that are there. Now, you may need to screenshot this for later, but this is one of the main elements that we did in class on today, Monday, March the 7th. And what we focus on is being able to write the transformation or translations in word form, function notation, and in expression. So that's 3 different representations that we wanted to focus on. And we use that to continue to talk about blending all these translations together. Being able to move the graph up, down, left, and right. Also being able to reflect it, whether over the x-axis or over the y-axis. And so a lot of our conversation centered upon that on today. So it may be a good time to pause the video and to go ahead and attempt to fill out this particular chart. I'm going to give you a moment to do so. I'm going to put the answers in there so you're able to see just how awesome of a job that you did. All right, I'm going to go ahead and continue on. I'm going to go ahead and add the answers on here just so you have them and you're able to kind of see how you performed. And if there's any questions, definitely know you can send those responses to either the Teams chat or what have you. Find my cursor. Okay, there we go. All right, so for the expression for the first row, it would be the square root of x plus 5, recognizing that 5 is under the radical with the x. For the second row, the function notation would be g of x plus 5, and then minus 3 outside of that. For the third row, what is happening? What's happening here is that the graph is being reflected across the y-axis. So then we put it all together with the fourth row. What's happening with function notation? It will be g of negative x plus 5 with minus 3 outside. For the expression, it will be the square root of negative x plus 5 with minus 3 outside of that. And so was our opener, but it was a real good also recap of all the things that we've talked about so far and all the major elements that are there. So just as a quick reminder, if you have questions or not or any concern about these answers, just continue to remind you, you can definitely send your question to the team chat, so please do so. You can also email me the question as well. And then we can just go from there and make sure you're in a good place. So that was kind of really the heart of it. As far as notes are concerned, there really no any big notes, but we did end up talking about being able to write a function and articulate what the vertex of it is. For us, the main part that I want to make sure I leave you with is just that you understand that regardless of what type of function that you have, that you're able to identify and recognize the placement of the values to know to move the graph to the left, to the right, to move it up, move it down, as well as those reflections. And also one big thing that I know Mr. Bill has been working with you on is being able to recognize that when you want to move the graph left or right, the number you use, or more importantly, the sign you use, will really be the opposite of what you naturally want to do. So for example, if we were to go back and look at the opening table, or that table that I just kind of walked through, okay, and you end up looking at that particular table, what you will have to acknowledge and recognize that when we move the graph to the left 5, we actually use a plus sign. And that's kind of wonky because you think when we go to the left 5, we're going towards the negative direction. And that is accurate. So the part that, really one of the part that I wish I could share with you, but it's a lot easier if you're in class, is to really get into the meat and potatoes as to why. When you talk about moving the graph and seeing graphically what it should look like, and recognize that you have to honor that relationship. That's kind of a big jump there. But hopefully Mr. Bill will be able to kind of walk through a small sample of that on Wednesday, Thursday when we see you next, and then be able to be successful regarding your 6A check for understanding and what have you. So that was really the highlight that we did on today. I wanted to make sure just to give you something to be able to go back to, look at, and see, just make sure you're in a good place overall. So I bid you adieu at this time. Have a great and successful day. For the juniors, we will see you tomorrow for the ACT testing. A reminder for that, you can bring your devices, but they will not be permitted during the assessment or during ACT. So you have teachers that we, as teachers, will take those devices. You'll get them back at the end of the testing period of time. Also, don't bring any water bottles, liquids, drinks, snacks. All those things are not going to be permitted during the assessment unless previously identified and documented. So just to make sure you're aware of that. And yeah. Everyone else, we will look forward to seeing you either Wednesday and Thursday. Have a great and fantastic and safe day, as I mentioned earlier. And take care.